Good morning. Hopefully this is working. Let's have a check. Who've we got live this morning? Spring Clean Energy. What's happening, everyone? We are here in Sydney. I'll just wait for a couple of minutes and see if people are jumping on live this morning or planning to watch the replay. We're having a beautiful spring morning here in Sydney. It is blowy, but very warm, which is absolutely lovely. I guess the first thing I should mention is thank you. Thank you for stopping by the Grow Lab, hitting the join group button. It is something I've been thinking about and experimenting with for a really long time, and something that I've done in small components before. So to actually be having it, doing a bit of a spring clean on ourselves, and creating this Facebook group is really fantastic. So yeah, so jump on, say hello as you're live. It's a new screen setup for me, so I've got all these extra buttons down the bottom I'm not familiar with, but we will proceed through. So yeah, how did the spring clean concept come about? Do feel free to, I'm sure there must be a chat box here somewhere. So yeah, feel free to ask questions along the way. And yeah, anything you like. But how did this kind of spring clean concept come up? Well, really, I have been, most of you would know me because we've come to be here through Facebook. But for those of you who don't know me too well, yes, my name is Rebecca Newman. I'm the founder and CEO of the Grow Project. I do have two companies. The second company is a residential construction company called Newmark Constructions, operating primarily on the North Shore of Sydney. We have had the two businesses. We've had Newmark for 11 years now, Grow Project for nearly 9 years. And as well as the two businesses, I have three little babies. And as well as that, I work 100 days a year. I've been doing that for quite a few years now. Before that, I used to work on infrastructure projects in high performance teams, high performance environments, and I absolutely loved it. It was a really dynamic role, really strategic, really worthwhile projects, building hospitals, schools, roads, train lines, and yeah, projects that really make a difference in people's lives, in the infrastructure of people's lives. So I loved it, but it was probably slowly killing me. I used to work up to 100 hours each week, and that was kind of what I knew. I did find my voice in working in that arena. I did have the good fortune of big budgets and surrounding myself with incredible people. And so my life really changed when I had the children, and it completely blew me away in a way that I didn't expect, and had me hacking and creating high performance environments in all these different ways that I didn't know. I never had much of an awareness around health and wellness when I was young. I understood a little bit of it from a performance point of view, but nothing like I learnt in having the children and putting food into their mouths. And so began my journey to working out how much work did I need, what type of work did I love. And I kind of spent a few years, I guess you could say, spring cleaning my life, and working out the recipes of what worked for me. So that's how I came to start the Grow Project, through conversations. And I guess how I've come to start this Spring Clean 2020 is 2020, like many, it's been a roller coaster for me as well. And I've got to this point where I kind of felt like the Grow Project needed a bit of a clean out. During the initial isolation period in Australia, earlier this year from March, I actually did really well. There was definitely days where it was challenging, but overall, I actually felt like I'd kind of been training for this for about 10 years since I'd had the children. So, you know, there's parts of isolation, there was truckloads of work for me, everybody wanted to talk about economic cycles. I had people reaching out to me I hadn't heard from in years, because business was changing. There was a health pandemic and people wanted to chat about it, and I'm extremely passionate about business, health and lifestyle and how they intersect and integrate. That's my sweet spot. I love to curate together frameworks for people which enable their genius in themselves. And so Grow Project was really busy during isolation. And I guess though what I found was when I was really busy and squeezing all the pieces in, I didn't compromise on my health, which was excellent. I had some really good foundations there, really great training partners. But what I did do was I just put too much in, and I got to the end of the period when the kids went back to school and I was like, oh my goodness, okay, what just happened? And that was a bit of a wake up for me. Thankfully, it was like running a marathon. I recovered because I'd had pretty good conditioning. And then as I've spent the last, so that, you know, that really was the start of the economic shock phase, as well as the health pandemic rolling out around the world. And now that from an economic point of view, we've started to move into the recovery phase, I've been thinking about what's going to happen with the broader recession and also what I know is coming, which is around the growth period that will follow this recession. So I, through the course of this spring clean, will share as much information as I can with you guys that I have learnt over the years, particularly the piece around macroeconomics that I have learnt from Darren Sherlaw, and I'll share some videos. The whole spring clean piece is completely free. It started out as something I wanted to do for the Grow Project, and I thought, hey, I am so much better when I'm doing things with other people, so maybe some others would like to do it too. And that's essentially what this this Spring Clean 2020 is all about. It's free resources curated for you, completely applicable to this time, and they're elements that I am going through myself. And so as we enter this recover phase, which is what happens after the shock phase, we then move into a rebuild phase, and then we move into a growth phase starting from September 2021. So that's how I kind of come to be here and how I came to be thinking about a spring clean. There are loads of different topics and I've actually mapped them out. I've got my beautiful little doc here. Spring clean. So it runs right across spring. It runs across all different topics. It goes through, what have I got here? All different things. Prep, how do you prepare to clean? Yes, I know, it's so much fun. And I think that's kind of, that's what it's, I think that one thing I would say about cleaning is it's a bit like some of the parts of business. So a lot of the time when people talk about business training and growth, they actually talk about all the exciting parts, and the exciting parts are awesome. And there's plenty of people out there who want to talk in business or in health or in life about all the exciting parts, and I'm not going to say we're going into the doom and gloom parts. That's not really my point here, but there are some essentials that are often missed, particularly in the growth parts of business. So I do want to talk about the exciting parts, and I do want to talk about the essential parts. And for me to be able to grow, you need a few things. One of those things is space. You need space for your mind, you need space for your body, you need actual headspace that you can get to be able to grow into. Space to allow new ideas to flourish, space to take a breath and actually consider what's just happened, what have I been through, how did I cope with isolation? How's my business coping? Was it better than expected? Was it worse? How's my family situation? All of those things which impact our life, our livelihood, our happiness, our fulfillment, they're all things that need space. Just like plants need space to grow, we need space to grow too. And if we can see up and look at the sky and see that there's clouds in it and we're not completely covered in leaves and crap, like a tree, we can grow. We can grow. And some of those essentials that I speak about in business are related to things that I often use analogies of plants, having great fertile soil, planting seeds in that soil, oxygen, all of those essential things for growing a business. And so I needed digital space. My office space needs a complete cleanup. I need some space. I need to do a bit of a rejig around the house. So I've mapped all of these into different things that I plan to do for myself. I've also just about finished a download that you'll be able to grab later in the week about the 3 most important things that you can do to make space and in this spring clean period. Spring is 3 months, it's not 3 days, and I'm going to give you 123 ideas of things that you could spring clean and how to work out the 3 most important for you. And so yeah, it could be, what have I got? Here you go, here's the home list. Clean out your fridge, clean out your pantry, your bathroom, your shoes, your wardrobe. I've got a craft cupboard that is a nightmare. And yeah, look, they're really basic things around the house, but there's a couple of things that happen when you're doing when you're going to have a baby. They call it nesting, and it's kind of making space for a baby to come along, and it's a little bit the same with growth. You're doing various different things which use different parts of your brain, which actually allow you to be more creative than you would have been. It allows you to think of things in a different way. It allows you to breathe in a different way. And these are things which allow you to, I don't know about you guys, but I know that one thing I learned in having the kids is that I got more creativity back in my life than I had in a very, very long time. And I now regularly have a piece of pen and paper when I'm with the kids, because you know, some idea will start brewing and I'm just kind of drawing and writing. And what I learned is the power of play in what I do and how much more efficient and effective it makes me when I am in business mode. But also it allows me to be really present in what I'm doing with the kids. I write it down and I'm able to head back to them rather than kind of having to-do lists in my head. And so I find the same thing around the house. For me, it's mostly in the kitchen. I'm not massively organized in the house itself personally. Mark is much more organized than me. He absolutely adores a clean house. I enjoy a clean fridge, and I get a lot of satisfaction from cooking. That's really important to me. I value clean and tidy spaces immensely, and yeah, sometimes I find them hard too. When it comes to filing systems, my filing systems are clean. When it comes to client programming, my client programming is clean. I guess for me, there's certain areas in life that are really, really organized, and there's others that just aren't as big a priority for me. But when I know those ones that are a priority for me, if they're unorganized, I feel really distracted. I feel like I'm going to forget something. I feel like I'm going to drop the ball on something. Whereas the things that are less of a priority to me, they tend to not kind of grind on my mind and distract me. So yeah, that's why I've got some house cleaning things. I've got some business things, and that was kind of where this started. I have had a few new team members come onto the Grow project in the last few weeks, and Newmark has also continued to do very well during 2020. And in having new team members, I needed to be much clearer on some of my digital assets, and particularly photos. So my photo library needed cleaning out, my video library needed cleaning out. We were creating new programs, my socials needed cleaning out. So all of those different things were needing cleaning out. And so what have I got? I needed paperwork. That's a good one. Can you see? No, it's up on the other corner. I keep paper. Client files need cleaning out. Oh, the ugly diary. Where's my ugly diary? We'll talk about the ugly diary and how I use that right next to, I might even try and bring on Olivia if I can, and chat about the ugly diary and how that really helps to keep my mind clean and ready for growth. That's around task management systems. I have Trello that I use in accordance with the ugly diary. My business roadmap needs a bit of a clean out. There's stuff I've put off doing for a whole host of different business, health, family, life reasons in the last few years that it's really the right time. I've not been able to take on many more private clients, and I've wanted to have a small group program for a number of years. I've designed it a couple of times in a couple of different ways, and so it just needed a bit of a refresh to bring it online. So I'm doing a clean out of that. I needed to think about my timing, and if you go back through my Instagram posts or you jump onto my website, you'll see there is, and Facebook posts, you'll see there's a whole reference to 2031, and a few years ago we had Lindsay Boyd come out from the UK, one of my beautiful partners that was the founder of the Business of Brand Group, which she started in London, and now she and Darren Sherlaw are speaking all over the world, and I was involved with launching Bob into Australia about 5 years ago, and yeah, you'll see that she came out to Australia, I think 2 years ago it was, and she and Tim Dwyer were speaking about 2031 alongside Sarah Skeets as well. And what 2031 will be the end of a 10-year growth cycle, and it'll be the biggest growth cycle that happens because of all of the technology that sits behind it. And that growth period, that growth cycle will start in September 2021. So when you see me making references to are you ready, that's what it's about. Are you ready for September 2021? So for me, I am making space to be part of the boom that will come. I am getting my foundations sorted, I'm getting my essentials sorted, as well as the exciting parts of my business. I'm very much standing beside my clients. I want to stand in community with you guys, much more so than I have been able to, because I believe that's where change happens, is at a community level where people are able to create impact together. So I want to stand with you as well as my one-on-one clients, and I want to help you be ready for September 2021. So when I speak about are you ready, that's what it's about. Are you ready for growth? Because when it comes, if you've got your essentials built, the exciting side, you're able to actually leverage those essentials that sit in your business and in your health. I mean, health is one of the biggest areas that isn't essential to business that people are so often not thinking about. I was very fortunate that I had multiple people say to me, Rebecca, you need to pay more attention to your health. I really couldn't do it for myself a long time ago, and thankfully I have checks and balances in place now, which really helped me with that on like a weekly basis, and I'll talk about that at the very kind of end of the spring cleaning program around how do you keep yourself resilient from a health and wellness point of view, so that you don't feel so exposed, so that you're able to perform in your business and in your family and as a leader in your community, and so you're able to do the things that you want to do. And yeah, so I was very fortunate to have that village, and I'm very much a village builder mentality, and I've been learning in recent years how to do that in a digital way, as well as my preferred in-person way. So you'll see me talking about village, you'll hear me talking about are you ready, particularly September 2021 through to September 2031. Darren, as the macroeconomist, was able to predict that quite a few years ago. He didn't expect that it would come with a health pandemic, and that has accelerated some of the symptoms that we have been experiencing, and made it pretty horrible, and yeah, definitely a human challenge, and the world was ready for change from a recession point of view. So recessions are all about change and moving on from things which no longer serve us. I will show you next week, and I'll do a repeat the following week, about why recessions happen. I'm going to show some videos to help you put in context that these things have been going from a macroeconomic point of view, so top level point of view. They've been going since the time of the pyramids. So these are cycles that we go through, and it's a time for growth. We are ready. If you think about in the first few days, I know it happened in our house, of people that weren't really that comfortable with Zoom, and in the first few days of isolation, on, you know, the first day I spoke to my father-in-law, he didn't know what Zoom was. He didn't need it in his business life. And the next day he was teaching a Zoom class to my children. And it was phenomenal, you know, and many of us were saved by technology like that. And it's those kinds of technology which have got organisations that were never planning to be work from home organisations saying, let's do it. Let's do this. Okay, it's not safe enough for you guys to come back. We want to keep going. So how can we create change? And so that's what this recession is going to do. The shock phase is related to literally the shock of the recession hitting. There are metrics, as with everything that I look at, there are metrics that sit behind everything, and they show the transition points for shock phase, how long shock phase will go for, how do you know that the shock phase is coming to an end, and these are all related to metrics on economic metrics, so stock exchanges, commodity prices, and all percentage changes. So they're the metrics. So there's the shock phase, then there's the recovery phase, and then there's the rebuild phase, and then we move into the growth or the boom phase. And so I want to walk with you through all of that. As I say, there's lots of business things I want to do. My business website, the Grow Project, needs a massive spring clean. So I started that about 3 weeks ago, in terms of getting my team sorted for who's going to help me to refresh it. Yeah, it's just one of those examples of head down doing client work, not paying attention to your own materials. So I need to really make my website a 21st century website. It's actually so broken that I went into the back end of it the other day and managed to have a whole page disappear because a template updated. So yes, just those pains, and I know why I do it. And yeah, there's other digital pains like that, you know, passwords and systems and old things. So I'll be spring cleaning those kind of things. If you do want to jump on, I can't see how there's comments in this group, which is really strange. Let me have a quick look. Live video option. Oh, I can put masks on, but I can't have a chat box. I can see Leo's there. And I can bring Leo on. I'd be happy to bring you guys on to chat about what caught your attention with Spring Clean. But anyway, hopefully it's all streaming live. If you do want to jump on and you can find a button that says invite, let me know. Okay, ways to clean out your mindset. So really simple thing: playlists, music, self-awareness, vision, values, all these different elements that you can clean. And these will be in my list of 123 things that inspiration for you cleaning out. Circadian rhythms, here we go, fuel and health. So this is something I've been doing in the last few days, is kind of spring cleaning my own the rhythms, rather than that beautiful sleepy winter feel, getting up with the sun. So it's incredibly powerful to tap into seasons and seasonal energy, and partly that's why a spring clean is so beautiful. Basically the weather is helping you. The forces are helping you to be ripe for change, and to be ready. So yeah, circadian rhythm. So waking more with the sun and resetting your sleep-wake cycle is basically your circadian rhythm, the rhythms of your body. Your movement schedule, I've redone mine for different reasons, which I'll explain over the time. What else? Skincare routine. I get asked about different products and things, so I thought it would be good for me to tell you guys a bit more about how I have cleaned different elements of my life to increase my performance in the years over learning about health. Skincare was one of them. Water is another one. Daily routine. Fuel sources. Addictions. And I'm just going to talk about these and direct you towards different resources if something resonates with you really strongly. I am by no means an expert or a psychologist as far as addictions come. And I don't find, at least I don't think, that addictions are a huge problem for me. What I did find is, and I think that's because I don't seem to have a lot of attachment challenges. So I find once I have awareness, change is quite possible for me, perhaps I would say. But the one thing I've written down here on my notes in terms of addictions is Russell Brand's book, Revolution. It is brilliant at explaining addictions, why we have them, who has them, what they're really about. And it's the first book that I read of his. My beautiful friend Natasha Milne suggested that I read it. And she said to me, you'll need to get through all the swearing in the first quarter of the book. And she was right, because I get through the book and I'm like, first part, and I'm like, why do we need to have the F-bomb every third word? Seriously. But anyway, the language tunes down after the first quarter of the book, but it is an excellent book. And I enjoy his commentary on life, should I say, on Instagram, where I used to find it really full on and wacky. I actually enjoy how his conversation really makes me think. And I would encourage you during the spring clean to have some awareness around your own thinking patterns. And perhaps they're things that you could share in the group. And I mention in the setup of the group and the kind of group rules as such, that challenge is healthy when it's done in a kind way. So conversing about things, if you are triggered about something, why does it trigger you? And I do believe that groups can have great conversation and challenge each other without needing to be rude. So I'm very much a kind person, and triggers are there for a reason. They are there for us to learn. They could be economic, all kinds of triggers, but yes, they are there for us to learn. So addictions, so we'll chat about that. Community, cleaning out your community. Who's in your village? Who are people in your life that are serving and not serving you? So is there changes that you need to make in your community and village? Relationships. Do you need to plant new seeds? Do you need to water the seeds of relationships that you have? Relationships are incredibly important, especially in a growth phase or a busy period, because you're able to really, they're people who will support you. They're like branches of a tree, right? They're essential. And we are wired to be in relation with people. So relationships are incredibly important. So relationship with yourself is incredibly important. Maybe that needs a bit of a spring clean out. So do you need to clean out in your relationships? Do you need to proactively be doing more? Do you need to water the seeds that you've planted of relationships? There's some of the big ones. And then to finish the weeks of spring, I've put in a bit of a session around life architecture. So it's something that I get asked about all the time. How did you come up with this 100 days? And so I thought I'd kind of finish with a big significant piece around life architecture. And I'm considering putting it into an online course at some point. I've been teaching it 101 for probably about 7 or 8 years now. And so, yeah, it's something that I feel like would be a really nice finish to kind of cleaning things out, making space and deciding what is your architecture for life. What do you want? What do you want in the next 12 months? And how are you going to bring that back to an everyday basis where you can really bring it to life? So we're coming to the end of the half an hour that I scheduled for a bit of an intro around the business, health and lifestyle aspects I'm going to be cleaning out as part of my Spring Clean 2020. And I would love it if you guys would get involved. It is so much better to do these things with somebody else by your side. I really invite you to come into the Grow Lab group. I've made it a private group, so only the people in the group can see the discussions that are going on. I will be putting in lots of resources. Either the end of this week or early next week, you'll get a link through to the 3 most important things to spring clean this year, and a list of 123 things that you could consider that you might like to spring clean in business, health or life, to be ready for the growth period that's going to come from September 2021. I think that's everything on my radar. All free. Lots of freebies, videos, downloadables. There'll be chats and interviews with different people. Yep, we talked about the shock phase, the recovery phase, the rebuild phase, and how that all is going to tie in is something I'll go into more detail around the economic clock. And yeah, we've chatted today about, I guess, why spring. It's a beautiful time to clean. And I thought, let's do it together. If you do want to jump on and share anything about maybe what you're spring cleaning, I would love you to either add something into the comments. I can really pull together all different resources. I am a real curator, so I would love to help you with anything that I can. There will be regular lives that do have a commenting facility. This one doesn't appear to, so I'll work out that tech. I'll be working out lots of things this spring, so I hope you'll be working out lots of things. I hope you will be creating space in your life this spring for growth, and I'd love to do it together. So I look forward to seeing you in the Grow Lab group. Ask me any questions and let's play, let's have fun, let's grow, let's enable genius together. See ya.